Hey, it's Brad. So, comedy, it's pretty much just, connecting the speaker with the listener over some relatable understanding of a concept, generally a complaint, something common to the human experience. And that way you're, on the same team, you're past the defenses. That's like that old, I think it was Benjamin Franklin trick about, somebody, hater getting on you. Um, One way to get through to them, open a line of communication, is to ask them a favor, like ask to borrow a book or something. And book in particular is a good one because then it connects on a common interest. Um, but satire, generally makes it so they're relating to you on a complaint, and then through blowing it to an extreme or illustrating the flaw in the logic, um, it's kind of you got me, all of a sudden they realize that they're complicit in a flaw, and on a small level it's kind of a psychological breakthrough, could be, um, but being offensive can be like just a it's the cognitive dissonance in general. It's a pain point to draw attention to that issue, and if the reason to draw attention to it is for some introspection or action or some sort of a purpose, then it can be used. That still doesn't mean that any application is necessarily viable or feasible or valuable, but it just you can't throw the bathwater out with the baby on that one. But being intentionally offensive, and again, intentionally offensive, it comes down to motive and application, execution. It's being intentionally offensive isn't necessarily bad entirely, because there's again, that's intentionally versus innocently offensive. That's one issue, and that's an important issue, where people need to be able to separate whether something that was offensive was intended as such. And generally, giving people the benefit of the doubt never works out against you. But the careless offensiveness is something that everyone should have an issue with. It weakens any valid point that it could be about, and obviously it's not doing anyone any good. There's issues of trolls and things, and that's a whole different topic, but in terms of just being offensive, triggering is a very charged concept, but for valid reason, because for the context where it is an actual concept, an actual issue, it's a really severe issue. But then that gets blown out of proportion on both sides with exploiters in between, and it makes it so the issue can't be seen objectively because it's already been thrown into backlash. But it raises an important question, which is part of why it has raged on as a debate. To what degree are you culpable for your words after they left your mouth? Similarly, to what degree is an artist culpable for their works in interpretation and in translation, and really in misappropriation, but especially in perpetuity and after they're gone? Like, how much can you hold the creator of a tool accountable for not having enough safety mechanisms, you know, drawing the line of what is acceptable for safety feature by what is expected as common sense is obviously a dangerous precedent to set. But you start nerfing it all up and nobody's going to be able to use the damn thing. And then, I mean, it really seems like you can't be accountable for your legacy in perpetuity. But you can craft it with intention and do so with integrity of character. You can make it so that, if truth will out, then, living above reproach and having it where any truth that comes to light about you just makes it that much more impressive. Like, finding out that someone, had some big obstacle holding them back after you found out about their accomplishments, that makes the accomplishments that much more impressive. Whereas, you hear about somebody complaining about stuff all the time, and then you find out they did something and accomplished something, that just makes it like, okay, good for him, but needs to be a better human being. So it seems like just making your choices and living your life with transparency and authenticity in light of a very near-term future where privacy is being redefined. Honesty becomes the only policy. There's no alternative.